Hello, my name is Cynthia. Welcome to another FlossTube video. If you're new here and you'd like to be inspired to create a legacy of beautiful stitching, then subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss anything. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. I'd like to spend a little bit of time showing and talking about what I've been up to in the month of August. We've had a lot going on in the month of August. We saw my oldest daughter off to college, and she was the first to leave the nest, so it's been a very emotional couple weeks for me, and I don't know if that contributed to, but I've also got a really bad cold, so I sound a little rough with my voice, if you'll pardon that. And I am filming today on August 31st on my birthday, so I wanted to get in a recap of August before August left us, and that just so happens to be on my birthday. So I do have some birthday gifts to share from some stitchy friends and family, and a little bit of haul, and I also have some finishes and a gift from my mom that I wanted to share before I ship it off, probably Tuesday. That probably would be the easiest thing to show you first. I was able to complete the Sunshine Berry by Erica Michaels. In the picture you can see that the sunflower petals are lined with a lighter yellow, and I thought I could stitch quicker if I didn't include that detail, and it also just wasn't my favorite part of the design. And it was fortuitous because I actually ended up getting a little bit out of the lines when I was stitching, so I feel like the way that I was able to cover that was by not having them outlined. I actually blended a thread. Before I knew about Fancy Floss, the very first piece I made, I actually blended 2 threads because I liked the variegation of it, and that worked for me this time as well. I didn't want to make a special trip for the thread I needed, so I just took a DMC and then thread from my Hawkrun Hollow piece, which I'll show you later, called I think it was Old Gold. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that was it. And the leaves of a sunflower, I'm from Kansas, so I've always loved sunflowers, are more of a sagey green or a celery green than this Kelly green on top. So I went ahead and put in I think it was 3052 DMC. The bees, I added a detail that was not on it as well. I thought that the Lazy Daisy wings were cute. I did those on a Brenda Gervais piece back in March that she had called for Lazy Daisy bee wings, so I copied that here, and those turned out so cute. I like to add specialty stitches now that I'm learning them. I have a couple more to show you too. On the top of the berry, I just put, it shows in the pattern, and I can't find a picture that really explains it very well. It shows, maybe you can kind of see it there, a felt sunflower, and I didn't have that fabric. Sorry, a little interruption there. I didn't have, sorry, my 7-year-old son wanted to see what Mama was doing. I didn't have, like I said, the felt from Weeks Dye Works, and it's kind of expensive, so I just went in my stash. I have this Hobby Lobby felt that is really thick. It's wool. And so I pulled that out, and then I just crisscrossed some ribbons on top and made a bow out of this green gingham. I think I got this from Joann's. I've had it in my stash. And this yellow rickrack, because I love rickrack. And then I had ordered these caps from eBay. I had seen them on some other strawberries. They're, I guess, a bead cap. I wanted it to be bigger, but I couldn't find a bigger size, so that worked out okay. And then I put these bells on here that were, I painted them to be kind of crusty looking, and I just thought they were pretty detail. There's some over one stitching on there. Is that backwards for you? I think it might be. Oh, and there's cat hair on this, of course. I'll have to get that off before I mail it. No, that's glue strings. But that was some of my maybe second time I've tried over one stitching, and it is a little bit of a booger, but I like the way it turned out. The pattern calls for it to meet up somehow with UR, and I knew I had gotten off enough here, and I didn't want to be stressed by trying to meet that up, so I just left it off. It just says my sunshine. My mother sang "You Are My Sunshine" to me most days when she was putting me to bed at night. So it's kind of our song, and we're from Kansas. So this was just super fun. I did put, I forgot to mention this in the last strawberry that I showed back in the summer. I did put some of those clear, they almost look like fish tank jewels. They're smooth. They're not like gravel. But I put maybe 3 or 4 in there to give it some weight, and it's just polyfill stuffed. I want to try some walnut shells or lizard letter eventually, but I haven't picked that up yet. So I did this one. But because I wanted it to rest in a bowl, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this very well, I made 2 more using the same pattern, but without stitching them, obviously. And they have the same bells and the ribbon and the bead. But this one was just a yellow polka dot from Hobby Lobby that I had in my stash, and then some red homespun. And I was a little afraid after I put it together with the green that it looked like Christmas, red and green. So I added brown on this one. There's not brown on the other. And it doesn't have the green and white check because I didn't think that would match. So they make just a really pretty display. And this bowl isn't going with my mom. I actually bought her a sunflower bowl, a ceramic sunflower from Home Goods. And I'd hope to show you that all together, but I might have to insert a picture on Instagram later when she gets that all set up at her house. And this bowl will be for me to create some strawberries. And I don't know if I'll do the sunflower ones. It's probably a little too late for that this year. But I'll probably do more Erica Michael berries, or Erica Michaels. Yeah, Erica Michaels. I really love the process. It's pretty quick, maybe a couple days. And I think they're just so cute. So I might do the Nativity Bell or maybe the Spooky Bell. I haven't decided. So that I found at a flea market, this silver bowl. I think it's just plated, but it was 75% off. So I think I paid $2.90 for it. So I love thrifting like that. I was really pleased to have a place to put some strawberries. These are going, however, to Oklahoma to my mom. So that was my big finish for the month. I had a couple others, and this is my only FFO. So that was the Sunshine Berry from the Linen Berry collection. I've heard that the silk ones, the petite ones, you have to actually fill in all the gauze to do that. So I'm really glad I got linen. They are pretty big too. They're bigger than the heartstring samplery little fob strawberry that I did last June. They're much, much bigger, but I really enjoyed that. The other piece that I finished, and I'm sorry I don't have the printout. It's from the Punch Needle Primitive Stitcher magazine. I say that wrong most times. And I have a little tag here that I put on it. This is the, oh, it's glary. The Sweeping the Garden Mouse by Barbara Anna. And I finished this, but I did not FFO it yet. I have to go and find some fabric for this to be a round finish. An Instagram friend that was stitching it as well put it on a trivet, and I need to run by the Goodwill. I haven't ever found a trivet at my Goodwills. Maybe that's more of a not something you can find in Texas very often, but even if I don't, I'll probably put it on a round piece of mat board and I want to do an orange and white check, kind of homespun ruffle around it. So I'll probably show you that next month. It's plenty of time for Halloween, so no big rush. I used all over dyes on this instead of DMC. It was really odd. I didn't have the DMC, but I was able to put together some over dyes from, I bought a little stash of Week Style Works on Stash Unloading. A lady had put a whole bunch on there for like maybe $10, $12, and I got like 15 skeins. So I felt really lucky to get that. And one of those was one I purchased at market. It was a new Cecil, Carolina Cecil, something odd like that by Weeks. That's that darker orange, not the pinky one, but the darker one. And it's a really pretty color palette. I felt like her dress, I used molasses. It's an over dyed, and the detail doesn't show up quite as well as it should, but I was okay with it. And I used a over dyed for her head. That is one of the silks. Actually, no, it's a cotton from Rolanda, hand dyed by Rolanda on Etsy. So good variegation there. I will probably not stitch a lot of mice. I was talking to Dina on Half Stitch Cross Stitch. She did a beautiful red mouse and had a mat on it that I admired, and she said, oh, you'll have to stitch the same one. And I didn't tell her then, but I will not stitch a mouse other than a Halloween mouse. I had some mice that got into my garage when our garage door was broken last spring and ate the field mice got in my stockings. Somehow the lid had been put askew and a little spot was left open. So the mice got into my Christmas stockings that I've had for about 15 years. Luckily they weren't very valuable, but they were sentimental. And the mice ate all of my stockings and made a giant nest. And the worst part was I didn't know that when we went to rearrange some things in the garage. I picked up the box and the mice started jumping out like some kind of Jack-in-the-Box of terror. I screamed so loud. I threw the box that included a couple of ceramic angels. I threw the box across the garage. My oldest daughter's boyfriend came running. I was so embarrassed. I screamed like I was being tortured, but I really was, because the mice were jumping off of my chest, and they were big mice too. They were like, field mice this size, because we live in front of a field. And so anytime I see those Brenda Gervais field mice now, I'm like, I am not putting those in my house. I am not a friend of mice, except for Halloween mice, because they're scary. So this one made the cut, but I will not be stitching those kitchen mice or any of the Santa ones. So that was my second finish. And then I also made a gift for a friend. I did a lot of paper crafting and painting before I did stitching. And so I thought I would share this one, because I probably made, let me show you. I've probably made about 20 plus of these name tags. They are made out of foam core, super lightweight, and you can actually hang them in a door. That one has an anchor on the button. I don't know if you can see that. Those were my grandma's button box there a little bit. You can hang it on the front of your door with a straight pin, so it makes a teeny tiny hole in your wooden door, and it's just a name plate for the front of your bedroom. And one of my best friends is having a surprise baby in her late 30s, so this will be her 4th child, and she's doing whales and blues, and so I just whipped this up for a baby gift for her. I'm going to include a few things with it, but I thought I would share that if you're interested. I just used a plate to cut it out with an X-Acto knife, and it's such a simple gift. A friend commented, reminded me to do this, that her son, who's 12, still has this on his door, and I'd forgotten even making it for her son Luke. So you can do it for boys. Girls are more fun. I have a bunch for my girls way back on my Instagram, probably you can find them, that are like hedgehogs and roses and stuff like that, but boys are doable. This little guy is going to be in a little nautical room, so I thought that turned out really cute. And I copy the letters from the computer after I print them off. It's super simple. So there's Mark's gift. I worked on that, and then I also had a smaller finish. It's not a complete project finish as much as I would love it, but it was a big accomplishment. I've been working on the village of Hawk Run Hollow for a really long time. Here's what it's going to look like when it's all done. Teresa was showing, I think she's down to like 3/4 done. My friend Becky is working on this from Socks for Mom, and we're kind of neck and neck. And she inspired me. She helped encourage me to pull this out and get it finished. So I've still been using a piece in the morning to pray, not as much lately, but this is the one that I have pulled out, and I finally finished this 3rd block. I say finished. After I put it on Instagram, I realized I did not put the back stitching on the steps. There's supposed to be lines there to distinguish the steps. So when I pull this back out in October, I will finish that detail, but I'm calling this done for now. It was an absolute booger to stitch. I counted in the house, there are almost 4,000, probably more, 4,000 stitches on the house alone, a couple thousand on the sign. So it was just a little Haid, a little mini Haid. And it had a lot of detail too. It wasn't something that had, I mean, the sign was a huge block of color, but the rest is all like brick and mortar and window panes, just 2 stitches, 2 stitches, 2 stitches. It was an absolute booger. I did use Brenda's advice from Handwork Maniac, and I don't think I did it right, Brenda. I know you showed me a couple times, but I just put in a satin stitch there that's a diagonal, and it was 9 stitches high. So I just made each satin diagonal stitch about 3 spaces high, and I hope it worked out okay. I think it looks more shiny, almost like a metal roof, and we have a lot of metal roofs in Texas, so I like it. It has some smoke coming out of the chimney there. It's a little hard to see, and I was supposed to put some French knots on that flag. I'm going to cheat a little bit and have my mother-in-law help me. They kept pulling through. I cannot get a French knot, but I'm going to have to ask for some help. There's lots of ladies in my church that could help me too. So that one's going to be what was it Chelsea said today? I'm going to call in a lifeline for that one. So here it is. The willow still needs some backstitch leaves, but I am 25% done. So still loving it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful piece. But it's going to have a little bit of a timeout for Sampler September, which I'll talk about at the end. I also had another couple of finishes, if you count each square as a finish, on my Lizzie Kate Christmas rules. I had, I think last time I showed you, I had done the cookies with Santa, but I finished no pouting, keep the schedule light, and I'm not 100% done on this little border. I said I was done, but I'm not 100%. But I got a lot done. I can't even fit it all in the frame. It's really, really growing. So here's Christmas rules. If I do 2 blocks a month, 2 in October and 2 in November, then it should be ready to display. I'm sorry, 2 in September, 2 in October. It should be ready to display in November. And they're really, I don't know if I'm just stitching quicker or if I've kind of got the rhythm of this piece, but they're really going faster every time. And I haven't put the ribbon on these, but I was doing some lazy daisy. My light is a little blown out today, sorry. Some lazy daisy stitches on the top of those to make ribbon. Like I said, I'm enjoying doing specialty stitches when I get a chance. It was charted to just have a flat bow like this with the white, but I always put a pretty big bow on my packages. So I wanted some ribbon, and this ribbon is going to be pink. But like I said, I almost got that done, and I really think I'll be able to get this done for Christmas. I have a shutter that I want to put it on, or maybe a piece of board with chalkboard paint. I haven't decided. So that was the other smaller finish, what I worked on. And I also forgot at the beginning, I was going to show you, I actually have a previous finish. I've been stitching over a year now, and so I had a piece that was a freebie from Snowflower Diaries. I think that I'm saying that right. And it's called Autumn is Here. It has a lot of mistakes in it. I didn't do the legs symmetrically, and I had a little bit of spacing problems with the letters. I can see that from here. But like I said, this was the very next piece I did after that little dimensions kit. So I guess the bug had already bit. I had a variegated DMC floss here for the leaves, and my rickrack's a little weird. My sticky board wasn't perfect, but it's still really cute, and it has magnets on the back. I'll insert a picture here of how I use this to decorate my 3-tier tray. It actually attaches to the tray, so I'll insert that picture here. The other things I wanted to show, I had a couple more whips, and then I have some birthday stitching gifts to share. I did work on Barbara Anna's All Creatures Great and Small a little bit more. I don't think I've shown you the barn completed, and also that little bouquet on top. It needs a little bit more fill-in, and I'm starting on Mama Pig. There's a baby pig. This piece is so fun and so cute. It is going to go into a little bit of timeout during sampler September because I'm working only on antique reproductions. And of course, this is a piece by a designer. It's based on a lot of motifs that obviously look very traditional and antique, but it's not an antique piece. So I will look forward to getting back to that. It is just a joy to stitch. I'm really, really having a good time with it. So that's Barbara Anna, All Creatures Great and Small, and she'll be going away for another month as well. The other thing I worked on, I actually showed you in the video I did about a week ago on Sampler September and Sampler Palooza, which is happening today for me. So I won't pull those whips out, but I would refer you, I'll try to put a card in to that video so you can see the other whips I did in August, particularly on my Birds of a Feather piece by Blackbird Designs. I've had a couple new people join in on our SAL, BBD Bird SAL, and Kim Goldman is almost done, I think, and Becky with Socks for Mom is making good progress too. So I will pull that out very soon. Speaking of that piece and of Becky, my first piece of birthday haul that I wanted to share, I'm so touched. It was such a thoughtful thing. Becky sent me a project bag. I told y'all I use the vinyl Daiso project bags, but this is so pretty. I'm so glad to have it. This was with feathers. I think this is the design she's using for her Birds of a Feather piece that she's stitching with me and Kim. And it was a birthday gift. So thank you so much, Becky. When that came in the mail, I've had a horrible cold all week. My voice is a little wrecked, you might can tell. I was just sick in bed, and my husband brought this in, and it just was such a thoughtful thing. Thank you so much. So I appreciate that very much. The other gift that came at the same time, and mainly it was a card, but there's a little charm in here too, was from my friend Daleen. She sent a picture of one of her newer finishes and a birthday message. So thank you, Daleen. That was so sweet. Like I said, another pick-me-up when I was just feeling awful. such a nice thing. And this card I had to share because it reminded me of Daleen a little bit. My mom always picks out awesome cards for me. She knows exactly my taste and things that I would say. And it says, I'm undecided about which pants to wear today, fancy or smarty. And Daleen had called me a smarty pants, not in a bad way. She said, aren't you a smarty pants? About something in my sampler video. And then I got this card from my mom the next day. And I was like, wow, that's funny. I am a little bit of a smarty pants sometimes, or fancy pants, a little bit prissy. But I love that card. Thanks to my mom for that. And oh, and Becky sent a card too. That was just a beautiful birthday present. So I had one other thing that was a birthday gift this morning. I'd asked my second daughter, Sophia, to make me a scissor fob. She does jewelry. She sells it to her friends sometimes. She makes like French. In fact, she made this bracelet for Christmas for me. She makes just pretty little dainty things. And I said, you could do a scissor fob for me. And she said, no, Mom, I don't know what that is. And I explained to her, it's just a row of beads. And so I said, well, make me something for Halloween. And I didn't remember that she'd had these skull beads. I think this is so cute. So this one in particular is sparkly. It's a sparkly skull. Oh, it's a little bit blown out, but the earring at the bottom, or this was an earring, I found my youngest daughter actually was looking down as we were walking in Alabama, and she said, Mommy, look, isn't that pretty? And I thought that would be really pretty for a scissor fob. So I picked it up off of the ground. It had been smashed, so whoever lost it wasn't going to be probably looking for it. It had been stepped on. So I picked it up and brought it home in my purse, and then it has become a scissor fob. So that is most of what I have to share today. I have a couple charts that I had acquired for birthday, and then for my here I go again, Primitive Stitcher Punch Needle Magazine. I had a couple of printouts that I wanted to show you if you were interested in the fall 2019 issue. I believe it came out just a couple days ago, so I went ahead and got online. I have an online subscription, and I printed out a couple, so I wanted to show you those. And then I think that's all I have to show you today. I did want to say though, I am going to be giving away one of these skull scissor fobs. I'm going to pay my daughter to make one for y'all so she's not slave labor, and then let you have one of your own. Now, it won't have this broken earring that I found at the bottom of or on the concrete in Alabama, but it will have these skull beads, and I might find another something at the bottom. So if you would like a skull scissor bead for, not the scissors, just the scissor fob for stitching Halloween things, then I'd like you to comment at the bottom. Okay, sorry, I had to cough for a second. If you would like a scissor fob, and it actually came off because I didn't have it tied on very well. If you would like a skull scissor fob, or just a Halloween one, I don't know if it'll be skull, but it'll be a Halloween scissor fob. If you would like one of these, I'd like you to comment down below. Tell me your favorite Halloween chart that you have ever stitched. I love Halloween charts. They're a lot of fun. I have a lot of good memories from childhood and also with my kids. So I love Halloween charts, and I'd always like to hear about more. So if you would like this chart or this scissor fob, then please comment down below with your favorite Halloween chart. And I have the regular rules of a giveaway. It needs to be over 18 so I can get your address, and I do need it to be US only because of shipping costs. And if you'll comment, I'll do a random number generator and send one of those out to a lucky viewer at the end of September. So that's my giveaway. And the last thing, I'm going a little bit out of order, but that's okay. I wanted to show you the birthday haul that I picked up. My local shop, I have two in Cleburne, Texas, Fancy Stitches, had a 25% off sale, which I think that's the best I've heard as far as sales go. And so I have that little bit of FOMO where I'm afraid Blackbird Design pieces might go out, although they did bring some back, so that's helpful. But I did go ahead and pick up Away We Ride. I don't have intentions of doing this year, but I didn't want to miss it, and that's how I kind of gauge it. If I think about it and say, well, I'd be really sad if this chart is discontinued. Some of them I'll say, no, it's okay, I don't have to have it, but this one was one that I love that border. I love the crows. I just think it's so pretty. So I had to have that one, and it was 25% off. So I picked it up on the sale. The other charts that I got this month were already purchased when I got my subscription for my Christmas present from my mom last year. And that was the magazine for 2019 fall. And these are upside down. Goodness. This is Pumpkin, Bird, and Tulip. And I needed a 5x5 piece for a frame I got at the Goodwill. It's got acorns, and it's a copper color frame. It's a 5x5. And so any one of these pieces will work. This one's a little bit prim, but I still like it. I think I'll make that pumpkin orange though, not yellow. That's actually the same color as my sunflower, the Gentle Arts thread that I had forgotten. What's it called again? Grecian gold. That's what it was. It's not old gold, it's Grecian gold. That's what's on my sunflower, blended with a DMC. But I'm going to do an orange on that. So, but not anytime soon. I just wanted to print it out and think about it. The other piece I liked a lot is called Salem, Mass by Joyce Reed of Joyce Reed Full Cart. I don't think I'll put the lettering at the bottom or the year. I might just do that, which she looks a little bit like a Brenda Gervais design, I thought. I think her skirt has October 31st on it. That's kind of hard to see. I might change that thread a little bit better so it'll show up. Maybe put it in black or something. But I thought that was a really cute piece. I haven't seen that designer in here before. I think she has a couple pieces in here. So those are a couple. Oh, and I had this one from 2018. Also, it's a little big for 5x5, but pretty cute. Autumn Berries by Sub Rosa. I think Lisa Abbey may have done that piece recently. So those are some printouts that I copied from my online subscription to the Punch Needle Primitive Stitcher magazine. I say it different every time, so I hope you know what I'm talking about. But if you were interested, this one's 2018. If you were interested in the 2019, though, it did have a lot of really pretty designs. So that's all I have for today. I had talked a lot about antique samplers in my last special edition floss tube video, so I will be working the rest of the day on my sampler palooza birthday celebration today on the 4 antique reproduction starts. I have actually decided to spread it out a little bit, not just today. I'm doing one over the 4-day holiday weekend for Labor Day in the United States. I'm doing one on Friday. I already started my Quaker yesterday. I'm working on my Mahala Barber piece today, and that's going really well. And then I have 2 more starts, my Luz Gonzalez and the Susan Rambo piece on Sunday and Monday. And I may pop on Tuesday next week and just show a rundown excuse me, of the samplers that I worked on, show you how much progress. I'm trying to do about 4 threads per sampler, which takes me about an hour or 2, and I'm hoping to get more work done in. This cold has kind of waylaid my plans. I've not slept well, so I know my voice sounds a little rough probably, but I am feeling better. I'm on the mend a little bit. I had to take an antibiotic because I had started to develop an infection in my ears and sinuses, so yada yada, but it is getting better. So not the hopes that I had for my birthday, but it's still a good day, and I had some kind presents and family that are calling and wishing me happy birthday, so I feel very loved indeed. So I hope that you have a great month for the month of September, that you consider stitching on an antique reproduction sampler, and if you do, I'll be looking on Instagram. You can check out my progress there as well, and happy stitching.